good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you all for joining the call today. We got an exciting call lined up. And as you know, today on this number at 1 o'clock, I see you. Thank you, Dean Tarrolly. This afternoon at 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock, we're doing a 1 through 8 every single day, every day for the month of April, every day, 7 days a week, 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock Pacific Coast time. We're doing a live 1 through 8. Yes, 1 through 8. So get everybody all. Here's the goal. Everybody get one person on this number at 1 o'clock Pacific Coast time. Get another person on here at 3 o'clock Pacific Coast time. Every day, 7 days a week for the month of April. We launched it yesterday. We had a lot of people on there yesterday on the 2 calls we did. So thank you so much for joining the call today. We got a young man who I asked to come back, and Monday I had a call, Throwback Monday, and I wanted to have people laugh, smile, and just smile on face and all the things we're going through right now. And I was just thinking about Mr. Dean Tarrolly and what a great leader he is. And we've been on summer vacation. On the last vacation we went on, he brought his daughter to the Bahamas. And I just wanted to throw a smile on his face, let him know how much I thought about him, and took pictures of his daughter. I'm always asking about her because he's a special young man. He's a great family man and also just a great gentleman. So we asked him to come back last week to this week. And in the meantime, I got some pictures of him. And I thought I'd send him to him just to put a smile on his face to let him know he was in my thoughts. So without further ado, our guest speaker today, featured guest speaker, I sent a text out this morning early to everybody, let you know that the great Mr. Dean Tarrolly is back. And I want everybody get your notepads and pens because he's going to go back and talk about what to do in this time that we're in, that we're living in. So without further ado, a dear friend, a regional vice president, Platinum, from Southern California, has an extensive organization throughout the country. The co-founders listen to him as well as I do. The great Mr. Dean Tarrolly. Sir, good morning.
Mr. T, I cannot hear you. Are you muted? Well, you have to unmute yourself, man. I got to say good morning to my man. Shoot, I can't even hear him. Hang on.
There we go. I'm muted, sir. I'm muted. There we go.
Mr. T, how are you?
I'm blessed, my friend. How you doing?
I am good. I'm good. I'm sorry for the couple-minute delay in getting us started here. I wanted to get repositioned outside. So good morning, everybody. Excited to be with you guys. Mr. Thomas and I were texting this morning and going over a few things that we thought might be helpful for you guys. And I don't know what I missed, Al, before I got connected. So I don't know if there's anything you want to catch me up on really quickly here before we get going with your crew.
I was just sharing how special you are and how I admire you and how you take care of your family. And I'm always asking about your daughter because I just love to see a father and daughter time together. I mean, moms always click pretty good, but dads are so important because me being a dad, it's a blessing for me to watch you be the man that you are around your daughter. And the last trip we're on, I was sharing with everybody. I sent pictures of you and your daughter.
Yep.
Because I focused on that, and I just wanted to put a smile on your face a couple of days ago just to let you know you were thought of.
Hey, you know, you guys, I can actually start right there. So here's the thing, right? When Mr. Thomas sent those pictures out of the blue, you know, here's what happens. If you stick around this business for a long enough period of time, the wrong people leave. And I don't mean the bad people. I just maybe mean the wrong people for who should be pouring into your life. And the right people, they tend to stick around. And that was an awesome memory going on that trip. It was my daughter's first time out of the country. We were in the Bahamas and took some pictures and Mr. Thomas sent them. And so, you know, wasn't necessarily thinking that was going to be the first thing I was going to talk about, but I want to let you know that your efforts and the time that you put in to learning how to do this well under adverse circumstances will pay off in ways that you may not see right now. You will see. I figured this, you guys. You know, we do not know how long we're here, and you know, all those cliche things. Every day is a blessing. Well, that's true. I'm grateful for each day we have. Well, that's true. So all these cliches, they're actually rooted in truth. And it's just that they get said so many times that sometimes the message gets missed. And I think that happens in our business as well. So I don't take those pictures for granted. I don't take those windows of time for granted. I certainly don't take the words that Mr. Thomas said for granted. And I hope that you guys don't either. I mean, we are now living in, I mean, we're seeing this played out in real life. And you know, so Mr. Thomas, I appreciate it, and you know, the feeling is mutual, sir, and I take it as a responsibility to actually be on this call with your leader. So, thank you, sir. So, you guys, I do have some thoughts today. So, well, this is just kind of becoming a regular thing, isn't it? So, which I'm happy to do. I do have some thoughts, and one of them is to make sure that everybody has a plan of attack for what they do during these days. So I'm going to tell you what I do. What I do is, here's kind of my routine, if you will. In the morning, get myself up. Before I have my coffee, I 10 minutes of faith stuff, you know, pull up my Bible, read. I will, I'm not saying that you have to do that or you don't have to do that. You have to do whatever it is that connects you, hopefully, to something bigger. So we all get perspective. And I think, hope that we start the day with some gratitude, right? Hopefully a lot of it. The second thing is, I will just get kind of connected online and look at some basic stuff. I don't go into the news really heavy. That's not really what I do. I'll check some headlines, and then once I do that, and I feel like I kind of have a cup of coffee in me, and I'm going, I'll dive into my reports, and the reports. I don't care if you're brand new or if you are a seasoned veteran. I think it's important to start those habits early. And see, what I like to do when I'm looking at my reports is I'll look at the current month's production. So right now we're brand new. We're day 2 of April. I'll look at the current month production, and then I will look at the previous month. And obviously the very first thing I'm looking for is I'm looking through my reports and I'm seeing who is customer qualified, who is not, who's coming up on their 30 days, who can we reach out to, who can we help to make sure that we help that person get a result. See, one of the things that I can tell you in the reports is if I see that someone has been in the business for 2 weeks and there is not a point next to their name, there was a hiccup in the system. I personally don't think, unless it's extenuating circumstances, right? I don't think that someone should go 2 weeks without a point next to their name. That means one of two things has happened. One is that the new person may have just decided, I'm not doing this, and I've gone into witness protection and I'm not returning anybody's phone calls. The second thing, and I think this is really where it is that the person who was the upline leader did not take control of the circumstances and situation and lay out a proper game plan to help that new person have a result. So what I want you guys to do, and what I want to warn you against, is using the circumstances that we're in right now as a reason to not have a result for a person right out of the gate. That's insane. Look at Mr. Thomas puts this together. There's 58 people on this Zoom right now for a quick morning leadership. So this technology has eliminated that issue. So that now, if someone is obviously sick, that's a different topic. So I hope that you guys are taking this with the intent that I have, and obviously extenuating circumstances, supersede everything. Let's say all things being in the new normal. which is what we're dealing with right now, the new normal, right? And we don't know how long this new normal is going to be around, but I do know this. On a side note, I think this has altered things for a really long time, and I think it's altered it for the better. And I don't mean it's good that we have the virus. I mean, it's altered the way that we do things, where we can become more effective, more efficient, and we can connect with people faster, and we can connect with people more efficiently and effectively if we learn how to be able to use this. We covered that last week. So I'll check the reports. I'll see who needs to be customer qualified. When I find out the people that maybe are not customer qualified yet, we need to figure out what's going on. Were they launched properly? Did you sit with the person on the computer, figure out the first handful of bills, what services that person can sign up? Did you create value for that person becoming customer qualified? Do they even understand what they need to do really to get their first check? So I'll go through my reports and I'll start to identify those people. Then my next set of phone calls, once I've done that, are to the upline leaders. And I don't do this. I do not call my upline leaders and go, oh, I see Greg Williamson here. Greg, one of my guys, one of my up and comers, absolutely a future regional vice president, right? No question about it. And he would be a great testimony, Mr. Thomas, maybe in the next week or two, if we set up another call, because he is a remarkable story of someone who fought some odds to get where he is right now. And I'm not going to put him on blast right now, but Greg, you and I can talk about this, later today or, next week or before, Mr. Thomas, if he has us back on a call, we'll do that. So anyway, I will call one of my regional directors like Greg Williamson. And let's say I'm looking at his report and I see some people qualified, some people have a few services, some people with no services, whatever. Greg and I will talk. And I want to be clear with you guys. I'm not going to call Greg Williamson and hammer him. He knows his business. I'm not going to call him and hammer him. I'm going to call him and ask him what I can do, ask him to get me dialed in on what's happening. So two things happen. I get him into action, or maybe, and I know Mr. Thomas has done this the better part of his career. You guys, sometimes the difference, I hope that you get this. Okay, hang on a minute. I'm coffeeing up before I go into this next part. Sometimes the difference between someone choosing not to move forward with you and the decision for someone to put all their chips in, sometimes that tipping point is a moment. It's a word. It's showing someone that you care about their success. It's not looking at them like a walking, talking customer acquisition bonus. It's reaching out to that person as a leader and saying, hey, I'm here to help. I want to help you have success in this. I know we can do this. Really important point. Please, if you fancy yourself an up and coming leader and a regional director, a future regional vice president, or maybe one day we'll all get to the position of Mr. Thomas, senior vice president, here's what I'm asking you not to do. And if Mr. Thomas has something other than this, please follow his leadership on this. But I'm telling you, I will never, ever, ever ask a new person how I can help them. What do they know about how I can help them? But you guys, people are scared to ask for help. So if a new person joins the team, let's say I see one of my guys there, Doug Soto. Let's say Doug is a new guy on the team. And I say, hey, Doug, so excited to have you on the team. Please let me know what I can do to help you. You're asking him to give you an answer to a question that he has no idea. You're the expert. You're the one with leadership. You know the system. You're the one who has knowledge. You're the one who understands the comp plan. You're the one who understands the website. You're the one who understands the services. You're the one who understands the promotions. You need to be the person. So how do you become that person that has the information and take a brand new person and move them into action? You have to have leadership, and you have to lead with and understanding that being new is okay. Being new, oh, thanks, TJ. Being new is okay. You have to remember what it's like to be new. Being new is like you're thrown into this world when you're excited out of your mind. You're probably fearful at the same time, and you need to be that guide. You know, I think last week I said it, maybe not, but I've been using the term. You know, you got to be you have to GPS them properly. You have to, you know, in the computer, on your phone or in the car, you're GPSing a route. So if you guys are getting anything from me when I speak on these calls, it sounds like I go off on tangents, but I promise everything comes around full circle. So, so I have that conversation with Greg. Hey, Greg, what's going on with this person, this person, this person, this person, this person? Great. Now he's going to catch me up to speed on what's going on. Now, as my job as the leader, as Greg's regional vice president, then I say to him, Greg, why don't we get on a three-way call with any of the people that this, that, or the other? So what do I mean by that? One person may have this issue. One person may have that issue. One person may have run into a couple rotten apples. One person may have a customer issue. One person they're excited, but they don't really know what to do next and they feel stuck. I need to be there to serve Greg. Hey, Greg, here's the thing. Let's set up a 2-minute phone call. Introduce me to the person. Let me see what I can do to move them into action with you. Okay. So an important point, going from report to action. So the reports are indicative of what it is that we need to do and the action we need to take with the people on our team. So when I can recognize that there's some potholes, there's some places, there's some things that need to be filled, there's some gaps that need to be filled, then I need to get with Greg, and Greg and I need to reach out to that person. So what does Greg do then? Greg needs to do something like this. Hey, new person. Hey, new business partner. Unbelievable. I just had a phone call with our regional vice president and he brought you up. What? I just had a phone call with my regional vice president or my regional director or my executive, whoever your upline or whoever your edified leader is. I just had a conversation with our regional vice president about you. You're kidding. He wants to help you. She wants to help you get your next bonus. He wants to help you. She wants to help you get promoted and paid. He wants to help. She wants to help. Look, we have a couple minutes with him or we have a couple minutes with her on the phone. We got to get you on the phone. Great. Oh my God. So now you get the new person excited to get on the phone with the upline leader and let the upline leader figure out and get you two working together to move into action. That's what I do with Greg. Hey, Greg, I know that you're on mute, but would you just, do we do this on a regular basis? Okay, awesome. So you guys, so important to understand that in this process, we want to get on the same side of the net with that person. We want to get on the same team. We don't want them thinking that we're coming down on them. We don't want someone to think that we are hounding them, right? A hunted animal runs for its life. We're not trying to hunt these people down. What we're trying to do is help them and kind of save them. So we have to have that mentality. So when I go through the reports, that's what I do. And I find out what's going on with people. Because look, when I read the report, here's what I see. Points, no points. In for a day, in for a week, in for a month. And I got to look at that and find out what's going on so we can advance everybody's business. So I hope that that's helpful. So then when I'm done with that, when I'm done going through my reports, reaching out to some of the leaders, typically by text first in the morning, I'll say, hey, Greg, do you have a few minutes? Or hey, Greg, what's going on with this and that? I have pages of text between Greg and I, what we do in the morning. It's just our thing. But now we're on the same page. So then this is an important part. Once I've gone through with my core group of leaders and I see what's going on the CAB report, people that have gotten started in the current month, the last 30 days, and maybe just a hair over 30 days, right? Then what I'm doing is I'm reaching out to the people that I'm personally working with phase one, okay? I'm reaching out to the people that I'm working with personally phase one. I have 3 phase one, meaning open, meaning, for those of you who don't know what that means, where I am the ETL, I am the regional director, and I am the regional vice president. I have those calls today starting at 10 a.m., Zooms, whether they're a peaking call, I'm launching 2 new people, doesn't matter. That's what I do. So now I look at the report, I check in with my leaders, and then I go into my phase 1 activity, making sure that we have either peaks or launches or follow-ups, all that with the people that I'm working with personally. Why? Because there is no one between those people and me, right? Here's the thing, folks. And again, Mr. Thomas, I'm not trying to teach structure and what you think works. Okay, so here's what I want you to know. If there's no leader between you and the person you're working with, congratulations, you're on your way to production. Congratulations. If there's no leader between you and the person that you're working with, great, step up, be the leader. Take them to a place where they would not go by themselves. That's what a leader does. They're willing to take someone to a place that they are not able to go or willing to go on their own. Congratulations, that is the definition of a leader. Mr. Thomas has done this his whole career. And the reason I know that is you can't become a senior vice president without doing that. To take someone to a place that they would not be able to go on their own. What an awesome responsibility. What an awesome responsibility. You know, one of the old jokes is be careful, be very careful what you ask for. You might get it. That's right. You know, so now you have a group of people that are looking to you. You know, and I'm going to use Greg Williamson as an example again, that this guy has just stepped up. And you guys, I would encourage you, if you're friends with Greg on Facebook or whatever, he's got a remarkable story. I'm so proud of this guy. It gets me wound up because he's gone through what people need to go through, and regional vice president for him is now it's not a possibility. I mean, it is, the GPS has been set to get to that position. But here's another part of the conversation this morning. He had to be willing to go through the junkyard, which he did, and he has. And by the way, here's the thing. You're always going to go through it. The question is, how good are you at navigating through it? Because that doesn't change. You guys, that doesn't change. Watch this. Mr. Thomas, and I know that you're on mute, Mr. Thomas, have you, even as a senior vice president, have you ever had somebody that was supposed to meet you for a coffee meeting or whatever, and they flaked on you?
Oh, yes, sir. That happens quite a few times.
By the way, the difference between Mr. Thomas and all of us, he's just better at dealing with it, and it's just no big deal. It's just, this is the business you have chosen.
A godfather.
Right. This is what you have chosen. So it happens to all of us. What happens to one of us happens to all of us, you guys. The difference is your skill set calls like this to reinforce your abilities and to remind you of your belief. That's it. That's it. Reinforcing your abilities, reminding you of your belief. It's like, oh man, I knew this was going to work. Right. So did we. But you got to go through that stuff. By the way, the more stuff you go through, the more valuable the victory. If you try to, you guys, this is an important point. If you try, like a parent and a kid, if you try to do everything for your team and you do not let your team fall down, get up, if you do not let your team stretch their wings, if you do not let your team go through those ups and downs and you try to save them through everything, here's what you are doing. Inadvertently, you don't even realize it, you are stealing their victory. Their victory is achieved by going through those challenges and coming out on the other side. Now you need to be there with them, but you can't overprotect them and do that for them. Otherwise, you're taking away the greatest thing one of the greatest things that ACN can provide, and that's the ability to go through challenges, go through these things, do it as a team, do it in a safe environment, but have them learn the skills to come through on the other side. You just need to be the person to guide them through that. And if you are an up-and-coming leader, you need to be willing to be guided through that. And sometimes that means taking advice that maybe you don't want to take. hearing something that maybe you don't want to hear, doing something that maybe you don't want to do. Greg and I have had conversations like that his whole career in this thing. What an awesome privilege to be able to do that and go through that with someone and watch somebody go through the development process of becoming becoming a leader. Okay, so back to the report. So I now have to do with my phase 1 personal open line group everything that I'm asking of and checking in with my leaders, my regional directors. Okay. So what does the afternoon look like? I hope, well, for me, the afternoon looks like this. Zoom, 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 Zoom. Okay. Zoom presentations during the day. And again, if this does not fall into Mr. Thomas's protocol for you guys, I defer to him, and you should defer to him. But here's what I do. I want to present to people by any means necessary. And what I mean by that is, look, the goal is for people to do PBRs, virtual PBRs, Zoom PBRs, call them whatever you want, so we can have group presentations, group exposures. And then what we do at night is within the Empire and some of these groups, we have larger group Zooms that we do at night. So like I'm doing one tonight at 6 p.m. So there's larger Zoom. So it almost becomes like this. And I hope that this makes sense. We're simply doing what we did before the coronavirus, but we're just doing it online. Didn't you guys do 2-on-1 meetings and PBRs in people's living rooms before this whole thing hit? I know you did. Otherwise, you wouldn't be on this call. So now it's actually easier to do it because people don't have to leave their home. So 2-on-1s and group Zoom meetings throughout the day, and everything should lead, I believe, into a larger Zoom meeting at night where people come on to the larger Zoom meeting and a couple things happen. Number one, it's a second exposure, which is super important. Number two, they're being reminded of the leader that you are because you may even be the speaker, or you're going to be recognized as one of the leaders. So, oh, I had no idea. You know, just like a BOM. Like, hey, can we have the top producer, da, 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 and your guest looks at you and it's you, you're like that belief level goes through the roof. So number one, it's a bigger picture. Number two, they're seeing all the different people. Number three, as a second exposure, they're seeing the information a second time. It's like, oh, you know what? This is making more and more sense. So the structure of what I do, and Mr. Thomas wanted me to cover this, the structure of what I do is exactly what we did before, 2-on-1s by day, PBRs at night. The only difference is the 2-on-1s can become even larger because people just have to sit in front of their computer or their phone by day, and then you invite them to a larger Zoom presentation that I'm sure you guys probably have scheduled, if not multiple times a week. Maybe you do them every night. I don't know. But whatever that bigger exposure is, where they look down at the bottom of the Zoom and they go, wow, there's 40 people. Wow, there's 30 people. Wow, there's 80 people. Wow, there's 271 people. Wow, this is crazy. Hey, honey, we got to take a look at this thing like that. Those are the conversations that are going to happen. So that's what I do. And then before I call it a night, I have some family time and whatever. And then guess what I do the very next day? Same thing. Because no one can convince me sitting on my front porch here in Burbank, California, that hanging out and talking with you guys is work. I mean, I treat it as work and I respect it as work. But you guys, I would sign up for this any day of the week. The challenge, I believe, is that people don't realize the blessing and the opportunity at hand. That's what I think. I think that I mean, if you guys really just take a quick step back, and I know we're right at 9:30, Mr. T. Here's what I want you to know. You have a company that has done all the stuff that we don't want to do. They've set up all the stuff that we don't have to set up. They've paid for the infrastructure that runs our business. They've made all the arrangements with all the providers, all of the expansion domestically and internationally. They have done all this stuff. What are you afraid of? Someone saying no? Great, move on. You just sorted them. I mean, have a little backbone, you guys. We have the greatest, look, before this virus hit, we have the greatest opportunity ever for the average person to do something really remarkable because all the hard stuff has been done. think about what we have to do. Learn your website, learn the services, learn how to present the business, and be nice to people. I mean, give me a break. We get paid to build teams of people that acquire customers. ACN does all the hard stuff. Y'all, I mean, anybody that complains about this being hard, I mean, I don't even know what to say. But as a leader, a new person is putting on a new pair of shoes here. And you can't make a person run a sprint in new dress shoes. It's uncomfortable. They don't, they're not even the right shoes for what we're doing. They may not understand what is needed. That is where your leadership skills need to step up and let everyone know, hey, hey, Doug, welcome to the team. I got your back. And it is never, ever, ever, you're going to do this. It is always, 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 we are going to do this. We are going to do this. We're going to get you promoted. We're going to create a story for you. We're going to make you, you are going to be so proud of what we do together. Are you ready? Great, let's go. Here's what we do. And then you need to have a game plan, whatever launch document you use, whatever it is that you do to get somebody started, then you just follow Mr. Thomas's lead on that. But your leadership is going to be, to me, is the tipping point. Your leadership is the ability for you to be able to take someone and put them in a position where they not only believe they can succeed, they are excited to work with you. How do you do that? Maybe that'll be the call. Maybe that'll be part of our next call, Mr. Thomas. Kind of was that like a cliffhanger? I don't know. Was that helpful?
No, sir. You know what? That'd be great.
I hope that that's helpful. And I know we talked about possibly doing a Q&A. Maybe what we should do is this, is if you guys want me on the call again, maybe what we should do, should we just set up the next one to be questions and answers? What do you think, Mr.
You know what,
Thomas?
That would be great. I think if we have you back next Thursday, we can now before we do a Q&A, we could also have Greg Wilkinson talk a little bit and share, and also Doug Soda could share a little bit as well, because I know you want to highlight them. So while we come back next week and have you highlight those two gentlemen, and at the end of that, do a Q&A. How's that?
Well, that sounds good to me. Greg, Doug, you guys open for a minute next week for Mr. Al Thomas? I got the thumbs up from my two bosses, so I think we're good.
All right, well, good. But before we get off the call, we have something we want to put on the screen real quick.
Okay.
Mr. Bree Clemens, are we ready? This is one of the RVP retreats we had about a year or so ago in the Bahamas. And as you could tell, not only is he a happy man, but like I say, I admire him as a father, as a man of integrity, but he's always talking about his daughter and his family. And I just wanted to share this with you guys, because see, it's not like Mr. Dean Tarrolly said, it's not about the money. It's about building something, a legacy for your family, something to carry on. Now look at his daughter's face, and you could tell how happy and how she loves her dad. And look back to dad's face, how much he loves his daughter. But also, think about this. He's at home right now with his family, like a lot of us are home with our family, or home. What do you think she feels right now for her daddy being home? Because the things that are out of our control, he's still home. He's still building from home. And that's what I want you guys to grab out of this conversation. Mr. Dean Tarrolly is in his backyard, sitting back, having a cup of coffee with a coffee on it says avocados and toast. Now, I love that. Avocados and toast is very good. He's sitting back, he's opening his heart up to you, he's real relaxed, he's laid back, but look at the lifestyle. This is what we all work for, this lifestyle. See, it's not about just cars and flashy houses. No. It's about your loved ones, because when it's all said and done, like Napoleon Hill said, it's about creating memories. It's about showing love to your family. It's about leaving back memories and journals and pictures. We have another, speaking of pictures, I think we have something else, Mr. Dean Tarrolly. We want to. Oh, okay. I thought we had another one there. But hold on, everybody. 1 second. Hold on.
That's the only one we had.
Okay, that's the only one we have. But I want you to understand this. This is our RVP retreat. Now, look who he talked to his retreat. Not one of his organization members, one of his heavy hitters. He took his daughter. What a blessing. What a blessing. So, folks, if we can we give Mr. Dean Tarrolly a hands up, a thumbs up, or something? I mean, and there you go. Thumbs up, everybody. I tell you, what a great call we've had today. Next Thursday, we're going to have back Mr. Greg Wilkinson and also Mr. Doug Soda to come back with us to kind of display some insight to how he's building. And everybody take notes. And don't forget, today at 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock today on this number, we're going to have myself and Mr. Brian Nelson and Mr. James Allen might be joining us or in Solomon. So we're going to be doing this every day, Monday through every day, 7 days a week in the month of April for daytime, so you can build up your evening ones as well. And with that, I want to thank Mr. Dean Tarrolly for being such a great co-host with me today, such a great leader, such a great family, such a inspiration to me and a lot of others, because I get inspired when I talk to him, because he just tells us like it is. He's real laid back, but it's powerful. And I'm getting a lot of you guys respond to how powerful and enjoyable he is. So I can't wait till next Thursday to hear more with Mr. Greg Wilkinson and Mr. Doug Soda and also Mr. Dean Tarrolly next week. And then we'll have a Q&A at the end of that after they speak. So with that, we want to thank everybody on the call today. Mr. Tarrolly, thank you, sir. You got a few words in closing?
Yeah, Mr. Thomas, I appreciate it. You know, you guys, this is just an example of like I've said it, and you're going to hear me say this on almost every one of our calls. I hope you stick in there long enough to be able to build these types of relationships. And, you know, Mr. Thomas, thanks for the kind words. You know, the feeling is mutual. You guys, please don't take his time for granted. It sounded like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounded to me like Mr. Thomas may have a national setup for you guys here this afternoon with the list of names that he just went through. And you have access to those people through Mr. Thomas. I would not take that time for granted. I would do whatever he says to do on those calls. And we'll look forward to next Thursday. And obviously, Mr. Thomas, if there's anything I can do between now and then, don't hesitate. Just let me know.
Thank you, sir, very much. And once again, every day, all of April, every day in April, 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock Pacific Coast time, we're doing a 1 through 8, a 1 through 7, and then get back to the person that got you on the call. So that's every day at 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock on this number, and then get back to the person that got you on this call. All we're going to do is 1 through 8. That's all we're going to do, just to help everybody expose people more in the daytime so they get to the evening big meetings and get signed up. Yesterday was our first day. We already signed up 5 in the first day yesterday. I know my team. So God bless you all. Thank you so much, Mr. Dean Tarrolly, with so much respect, sir. Thank you. God bless you all. See you guys next Thursday with Mr. Dean Tarrolly and his two RVPs. And I'll see everybody at 1 o'clock today. God bless. Thank you so much. And thank you, Mr. Clemens. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.